EliteConversations.com. EliteConversations.com. EliteConversations.com.
Hello, how's everyone out there? This is Darrell Spears with EliteConversations.com, and this is Elite Conversations Unplugged. And I just want to thank everyone for joining us again on a Thursday night. We are so excited to come to you again with EliteConversations.com. And just to let you know, we're here for small business owners, and our goal is to bring you knowledge, resources, and those connections that you need to take your business to the next level. We have an awesome show tonight. We're going to be talking about women in business to celebrate Women's Month. But before we move forward, I do want to thank Kim and Alan Andrews, the business power couple who were here last week. We talked a lot about startups, about setting up your business plan. So if you get a chance, definitely go back to our YouTube channel and take a look. It's some great information, some great nuggets there on those of you that are looking to start a business. So I appreciate Alan and Kim for joining us and providing that great information. Tonight, we're going to be talking about women in business and sharing a lot. I am so excited. I have three powerful women in the DMV. They are going to share a lot of information with you. And I really just wanted to come and have this show because it is Women's Month, and it's personal for me. My father passed when I was young, so I grew up, and most of my heroes in life were women. You know, my mom, she raised three kids, sent three kids to college. We didn't have everything we wanted, but guess what? We had everything we needed, and she was just such a strong woman. Her and, everybody in the family, grandma and aunts and uncles, everybody pitched in. So I know the power that's in women, the physical, mental, and spiritual power that in women that were in my family, and that really helped to give me the foundation that I need. So it's a dedication to her, and I still have that, still having my moms and have a wife that's powerful. I mean, these are strong women in my life, and luckily I got to a point where I had strong men in my life that shared a lot with me, taught me a lot through, college, and especially First Baptist Church of Glenarden. But today I definitely wanted to talk about women, talking about how women have advanced. And we have three individuals here, and I want to first introduce on my left, Deidre W. Hill. Glad to have her here. She is the owner of D.W. Hill Consultant Association. Is it Associates? Associates. And she does a lot in the area of public relations. And for more than 25 years, Dr. Hill has been a leading award-winning communications and marketing programs for Myra Industries, including higher education, healthcare, nonprofit sectors, and through marketing and research and content development, she specializes in the process of transforming perceptions and attitudes into positive engagement for organizations, individuals, and their products and services. So she is an awesome individual. She has earned a doctorate in higher education administration from Morgan State University, a master's degree in journalism and public affairs from the American University, and a bachelor's in English from South Carolina State University. So we got some powerful stuff coming our way. So I appreciate you, Dr. Hill, for being here.
Thank you, Darrell.
Also, we have Ms. Darlene Brown, awesome leadership training and personal and business development coach. Inspirational speaker. She has her nonprofit, Divine Empowerment, and she does a lot in the community. Also, she has 25 years in professional experience in the field of budget management and technology, financial business processes. Divine Empowerment provides dynamic and profound inspirational messages through professional speaking, business leadership, and personal empowerment coaches. Darlene's clients gain a knowledge of methodologies to assist them with the understanding and application of business and personal processes to improve their life on all levels and increase the revenue that they can generate in their business. I like that last part. That's what I need. I need some revenue I can generate. So that is awesome. And last but not least, we have Miss Sade Dennis, the CEO of Dennis Companies Global. She's a very dynamic. I appreciate the work she does, not only in the business world, but also in ministry. The Dennis Companies Global is a boutique strategic communications firm that is comprised of strategic, consulting, multimedia, training, products, and services. Her clients are executives, entrepreneurs, and companies that want cutting-edge products and services. And some of her demands is high-profile branding, photo shoots, web video production and strategy, on-camera and media training for entrepreneurs and executives, multimedia assessments and consulting, and image consulting and coaching. So she does a wealth, and some of her clients are, oh my goodness, the Kellogg Foundation, Inroads, the Washington Post, TV One, AOL, Zondervan, and Essence Communications. So as you can see, I'm surrounded by a wealth of knowledge and expertise, and we're going to have a good night just really talking about how powerful women are in the industry. So thank you, ladies, for being a part of Business Unlimited. And we're going to talk a little bit about women in business. I want to share some statistics before we get into the questions. Statistics right now for women who own businesses in the United States. There are more than 9.4 million firms owned by women, employing nearly 7.5 million people and generating over $1.5 trillion. So there's a big impact right there for women. Women-owned firms represent 51% more, account for 31% of privately held firms, and contribute 14% of the employment and 12% of revenues. So we know that women are really moving and shaking right now in the business industry. So I want to take a minute, first and foremost, to have you guys just share a little bit about what you do, and just talk. I want to ask the first question is, who is the woman in your life that you look to as your hero, and how that person impact you in terms of where you are today? So I'm going to start with you, Dr. Hill, just to talk a little bit about what you do and that person that has inspired you.
Okay. Thank you, first of all, for having me, and good evening to everybody on the show. I am a newcomer in terms of being a business owner, but I've been around the block a few times. As you mentioned earlier, I've been in the marketing and communications field, particularly with higher education, for over 25 years. And after spending that amount of time with higher education institutions, it was time to branch out on my own and use my experiences to help others in other industries, and particularly small businesses, and help those people who probably don't have access to the resources and not break the bank as well. I have almost all of my role models in my family. Anytime somebody asks me who do you look to, who are the or who are the women that you look to, those are my family members. I had on my mother's side, my grandmother owned her own general store in rural South Carolina in the 50s, 60s, and the 70s, along with my grandfather. And while doing that, she raised 6 children, and she purchased her own home.
Wow.
So she was able to do that during a time that was not very kind to women or to African Americans during that time. So that has always held a very strong impression with me. And then I have an aunt on my father's side. And at a very young age, she came to Washington, D.C., from South Carolina, and she became a hairdresser. And while she was a hairdresser during the 1950s and 1960s, she saved enough money to purchase a home on South Dakota Avenue in Washington, D.C. Wow. And she eventually turned her hairdressing experience into her own business, and she brought it into her home. In fact, into the basement of her home. And being able to manage all of that at such a young age, didn't know anybody coming to the city from South Carolina. Those experiences have really had a profound effect on me. In short, they basically say, I can do whatever I want to do.
Right.
I can do whatever I put my mind to it. And I have actual examples in my family to actually follow.
That's awesome. Awesome. Ms. Brown, share a little bit about your experiences and that person in your life that is.
Well, I definitely have to say that my mom was an inspiration just in terms of making things happen.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't a business owner, but her creativity and, raising 4 children, single in New York City, her ability to do that and maintain great strength from that. My 5th grade teacher, Miss Miller, and she was very influential in my life in terms of helping me to have confidence in my creative ability to dream. And I can really appreciate that being in business today for myself. Oftentimes, dreaming and the ability to be creative can be limiting because we think, I'm out here and how am I going to make that happen?
Mm-hmm.
So very influential. And of course, there's tons of women that I've met along my journey. Dr. Emma Fraser Pendleton, who is a great mentor to me, Harvard graduate, and women that I've met. I think that's been a great inspiration of support for me in business. And being able to connect with them and share ideas and concepts and get honest, valuable feedback and support. So I love what I do. I've been in business for myself. This is not my first company. It's actually my 3rd company, but I've been in business for myself since 2007. I love it, particularly in the areas of leadership and training.
Mm-hmm.
And I have about 25 years of corporate experience in technology and finance and budgeting, which is always a great tool in this day and age when technology is infused in every aspect of our life. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Miss Dennis.
Wow. I just appreciate, I'm going to piggyback on what you guys have shared. So, when I think about that, I definitely say that my mother was my main and my biggest influence. My mother, for me, was like the original Renaissance woman. I watched her go to school, raise kids, and at the same time work. She had her career, but she also had businesses on the side. In fact, my father as well had businesses on the side. So just seeing that and seeing her work ethic and my mother using all the tools that she had to raise my sister and I, so she was a huge influence. And even to this day, she's one of my closest advisors, even though she may not have some of the same experience. But my mother would be the type of woman that people would hire to clean up the entire department, train the staff, and just turn over. I mean, my mother would just change whole departments. And I would see her deal with really difficult people, the people that others said, you know what, I'm glad that they're not in my department. My mother would find a way to motivate them, and they would want to work for her.
Wow.
And I saw that, my mother has the gift of gab. She's so funny. People that say I'm funny, I'm like, I am just only a portion of funny compared to her. She's hilarious. She is the life of the party at every party. So definitely my mother was and still is one of my biggest influences. I would say also Zora Brown. Zora Brown, she is no longer with us, but I met Zora while I was working at, let's just say, a really high-end sedity salon. This was years ago. And we just really took to each other. And I remember I started off just kind of helping her get ready for events, reviewing her wardrobe, like looking at her speech and different things like that. And she really took a liking for me. And she treated me with so much respect. And so we would be out at the Kennedy Center in New York, and she would never say, oh, this is just my assistant. She would always say, this is my friend. And I watched her with all different types of people. I mean, we could be in Southeast, we could be at the Kennedy Center, we could be in New York. I remember she was getting honored by Joan London at the time, who was on Good Morning America. And just to watch her sashay through a room. She got honored by Magic Johnson one time when the NBA had their All-Star Awards in D.C., and just everyone loved Zora. And she was a 2-time breast cancer survivor.
Wow.
And unfortunately, she succumbed to ovarian cancer, which is her 3rd time she was struck with cancer. But just used her life, everything from clinical trials to creating a support group for African-American women. She had the Breast Cancer Resource Committee as well as Rise Sister Rise. Did all kind of things with like jazz musicians. And I saw her use all her creative gifts and talents to help women. Even like the husbands had a support group for men. And I just saw her use her life as advocacy. So definitely Zora Brown. I love her so much. Another one of my mentors, Gatsby Brown, who is a prolific fine artist as well as nonprofit consultant. I mean, just Gatsby is the bomb. I love me some Gatsby. Gatsby, if you're listening, I love you. But just women like Gatsby and Zora who are so smart, so talented, so gifted, so feminine, so powerful, all at the same time, who just really loved me for me. There was no ulterior motive or anything like that. And so just with such a high level of friendship and respect, mutual, and just kind of watching them do their thing. And sometimes it wasn't a matter of them explaining or showing me something step by step. It was just allowing me to be in that space and me watching them and watching them will and deal and watching them in their personal time as well, because they allowed me to kind of go behind the veil and seeing them how they served people, an afternoon in their home, just the level of hospitality that that people received, to how they treated their husbands with respect and honor, even though they were so powerful and esteemed and revered, but at home, still taking that same approach to excellence.
Amen.
But their husbands had their chest sticking out. And so, Kenny, if you're listening, I love both you guys as well. But just seeing these amazing women, and of course as well, my mom, how she treated my dad and what have you. So, I mean, God has been good. I certainly am a product of all the women who have been in my life.
And I can tell, I mean, just listening to you guys, it was teaching, but a lot of that came from watching and having that role model, having someone to model that before you, which is huge, for men and women. I want to talk a little bit about balance, and women are doing so many great things in business, and just thinking about the young ladies that are coming behind you all. Do they have to make a decision now? It seems like, are you going to get married? Are you going to have a family? Are you going to have a business? Darlene, what do women, do they have to make that decision, or can you have it all? And if you can, how do they go about doing that?
I certainly believe that you can have it all, but I do think that it is a process. It makes me think about my 24-year-old daughter who asked the question, as some of her friends are getting engaged, and her focus is primarily on building a business. And she asked, am I missing out?
Wow.
And I said no, because everyone's path is different. And so it's not supposed to look like everyone else. That if you truly desire to start a family and that's where your heart is, I would say go for that. I would say also that there are other things. So find balance, don't make marriage and children the ideal, but that it's a part of the process to what you find fulfilling for you. But I think that young women today are coming out and they're thinking about building their careers. They're thinking about making sure that their finances are in order, so that they have stability when they get to, that 25, 30, 35 mark. They are then more mature emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, and therefore better equipped in making a decision about a life mate, a husband, and what that would mean in terms of being a parent. So I would encourage young women to, don't lose sight of being a wife and a mother, but definitely consider what you're doing today, particularly because having a family, that's being a provider. And being able to do that well means having stability, and that is financial stability, right? And setting yourself up to be in a position where you can do that better allows you to parent better. Let's just be honest. It does. And so I would say, map out what's your passion? What are you great at? It's not always I went to college for technology, but in my business, it's very much a part of what I do. But I'm passionate about inspiring people and doing executive leadership coaching and training. But that wasn't what I went to college for. So find your passion, pursue that courageously, and get yourself a great mentor. Yeah.
Wow. And I know, Dr. Hill, you probably can write a book.
Yeah.
You got 3 degrees. You and Greg have 5 kids. How in the world did you manage and balance and get it all done?
I am a wife, a mother.
Wow.
And a business owner, and have a full-time job. And I would say, though, that in college, in my undergrad years, if you would have asked anyone who knew me during that time and say, and have them predict that I would be a wife and a mother with 5 children today, no one would believe it. No one would believe it at all. And I share that because I believe that God has a plan for you. And when he makes that visible for you, that's the path that you go down. I never would have thought this would have been the path for me. But it is possible to balance all of that, and it is possible to have all that. And the way that we make it work is, our understanding is that everybody has a role in running the household. Everybody has a role. There are no stereotypical roles on who does what. I remember in one of my previous jobs, my husband came to visit me at work. And he came with all the girls. They were all little. They're now all teenagers now. But he came with all of the girls. And one of my coworkers said, "Oh, it's so nice to see a man with his children." And my husband said, "Well, what else is he supposed to do?"
Right.
That's
That's
the role
right.
that they're supposed to have. So we balance in that way. Communication is a huge piece of it. I agree with you, Darlene. Definitely follow your passion and include your family in the passion. Include everybody in that process. In starting the D.W. Hill and Associates, this was a family thing. Everybody had to be a part of it. And everybody was communicated with, so everybody feels like they have a role in it, or they feel like they have a little piece of it. I think I would be struggling if I was off over in this compartment trying to do it here and then trying to do some other things. So it's just become a part of our family. And we all have a role to play in it, and we all have a role to play in managing and balancing all of the different pieces to our lives.
That's a key point, is really having the support from your family and, like I said, making them a part of it and giving them a piece of responsibility as well. That's huge. And I had to laugh at Miss Dennis coming in here today. I already know she's in the middle of it. She's like, I just passed the kids off, but I'm here.
Just transferred them.
Just transferred
car to car. We have a lot of parking lot drop-offs and pickup.
Yeah.
But you're doing your thing out there.
I
You're making it happen.
And I appreciate what you said, Doctor, because truly I think it's such a great example for kids to see. If you think about our coming up and watching our parents and people that we love do what they do, everything from like organizing, collating, stapling to everything, and one of our newest endeavors, which is a media company, my girls and my son, they helped me set up. We had to set up a location shoot. And my oldest daughter went with me, and she was like my stand-in. She helped me with the plugs. And my little guy, he counts like how many things we have in our bag. And I want them to be comfortable with setting up, working the camera, reading teleprompter, everything. So they kind of have fun with it now, and like use my old mics and use it for like performing air quotes, but I want them to be comfortable and confident. So we do practice public relations and public speaking and things like that all the time, because these are transferable skills that they'll need, whether it's presenting a science fair or whatever it is, So I definitely agree with that. And so into the question, can we have it all? I would say yes, but not at the same time.
Right.
And, and I look back at kind of my experience. First of all, I feel like some people we all kind of even out, if you will. Not that we're in a race, because we're not in a race with anybody. But I would say definitely, like you guys mentioned, to follow your passion, but also to make sure that everybody is enrolled, if you will. So that you're enrolled in their dream, or that they are enrolled in yours, and both all together, because it does take that kind of support for the entire family. And Lord knows I've seen many examples where there's friction between the spouses or what have you, and you just can't expect there to really be progress made if people are not really aligned. And so having that spouse that understands and that is supportive, and both of you all have dreams and goals. I mean, I always say, if you're not dead, you want to do something,
Right.
And I have some friends who have children, and they decided to stay home for all those many years, and that's fine for them. I am so driven by my work. I enjoy it. Sometimes it's relaxing to me to really get in my work. So that wouldn't be an option for me. But my kids come home at 2:00. A couple of years ago they were in aftercare. Now they're home. I have children in my home at 2:00. That is early.
That is
Okay.
Yeah.
And but we just roll with it. Many times, whether it's putting something educational on for them while I'm finishing up some task. I just enroll them in. I remember I was on Periscope one time, and my son, his bus at the time dropped him off at 12. This is when he was in preschool. And I had him set up in the kitchen with art and snacks. And okay, I'm not gonna be in your thing, mommy. But lo and behold, I'm on Periscope, and who comes in there flying a plane? So it got to the point that I just began to include him in there, and people called him the hugs ambassador.
Okay.
And he was just, because I couldn't say just stay here, you stay in the kitchen, and it ended up being something really special for people to see.
Exactly.
And he knew how to press the hearts and everything, and it became normal. And then the girls would be jealous of him.
Right.
He was on camera. But something that I look back on now that he's in kindergarten now, and it's something really sweet and really special. And they have that experience, another air quote again, of media and all those kinds of things. Because really, for them, they're in the digital age.
Yes.
And so there's times where they can work something better than me. And I think I'm pretty adept at technology and what have you. So it's really important. I think about the example of people say, don't argue in front of your kids. But I think if you happen to have them see you make up. And so taking that kind of same example, having me go out comparing prices or going on Amazon or picking up equipment. I want them to see what it takes to do what I do.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
and not
right.
just seeing
That's huge.
money pop up somewhere.
That's
No,
right.
this is what it takes for mommy to do this.
That's
So
right.
your job is to be quiet on this conference call, and they're whispering and they're doing charades, getting my attention. But then afterwards, I'm like, I thank you guys. You all did such a good job,
exactly.
helping mommy out.
Right.
And they feel like they're a part of it, even in their little, 6 and 7, 8-year-old way. Because I have their stuff 6, 7, and 8.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. So I want to move into, this is Women in Business, and just start to share a little bit with those that are out there, young ladies and young men. What does it take for those that have a desire to go into entrepreneurship? What are some of the skill sets and even in your mental capacity and character that you have to be successful in business moving forward? Share with us a little bit about that and how it's helped you.
The first thing I would say is competence. I've seen lots of people, of course passion is important, but some people have passion, they're not competent. I'm like, you need to volunteer. I want my own nonprofit. No, boo, you need to volunteer somewhere because you're not competent in what you say that you're passionate about.
Right.
Everybody doesn't need their own. Maybe
Right.
volunteer in a prison ministry or something like that. If you want, I want my own prison ministry. I want my own nonprofit. Why?
Right.
You know, so we're all competing for the same dollars anyway. Go ahead and join forces. But sometimes I see that a lot. People who want to be their own boss, and I laugh at that. I mean, yeah, technically I'm being my own boss, but accountability never goes anywhere. I'm essentially accountable to all my clients and stakeholders. There's never a time where I'm not accountable, just doing my own thing, free as a bird. So, I mean, I think that people really need to understand why they want to be in their own business, because they have a lackadaisical attitude. If they're if they don't really believe in excellence, I mean, all these types of things are important, but you got to have a skill set, and you got to be really willing to learn. You know, this is a changing environment that we're in. You know, technology makes the world smaller, and you have to be adept. You have to be open to want to learn something new. I mean, because social media, technology,
And that's every day.
Absolutely.
Every day.
You know, a lot of people say, well, you know, I'm not on that stuff. As like they have a disdain for it. I don't need all that. Well, are your customers there? Your clients there?
Absolutely.
Don't you hear
Yes,
that?
I do. And then
All
I
that
say, it's not going anywhere. And
Right.
you will be phased out and eliminated
Come
if
on
you
now.
do not understand how to infuse this into your business.
I love that. Infuse.
It's absolutely necessary.
Yes.
Everything in life requires balance. So I do understand when I say infuse it, it's about knowing how to utilize it and infuse it so that it's beneficial.
Absolutely.
I don't think that anything should be that we become addicted to it. So, you know, I love social media. I think it connects the world globally. I think it allows you to have impact to people that you may never have the opportunity to meet in person and speak to in person, but you are imparting some information and knowledge in a way that makes their life better or encourages them along their way. But I have to say, when it comes to business, definitely educate yourself. Being in business, as an entrepreneur, people will say it sounds great. You're working for yourself. That basically means that I have to generate enough revenue to financially sustain myself, not just in the here and now, but in the months to come, because it means that I don't have a health insurance plan. So if something happens, my business has to continue to generate revenue that I am okay and that those I'm responsible for are okay. So educating yourself about what it means to be in business is critically important. And I don't mean just that you go out and get a business degree, understanding the financial aspects, you know, understanding from an investment perspective, what do you invest in, not just monetarily, but with your time, because that's very much in the beginning, it absorbs a great deal of your time. But then is the discipline. And I use this word because I'm very passionate about what I do, and passion is a necessity.
It is, yeah.
Understanding your why, as you said, why you choose to do something, because it's not just about generating that revenue at the end, although we understand that we are in business to make money. But it can't be that I'm in business to make money and I don't understand the level of quality and excellence that I'm providing to my customers and clients, because that's what allows you to have longevity in business, right?
Absolutely.
But the discipline, and that word, you know, discipline, we say, discipline your thinking, disciplining yourself and how you manage your time, understanding, disciplining yourself even in the way you engage and interact in circles, because it all comes back to, you know, having integrity.
Say that again.
Integrity. I mean, you have to be an honest person. I live by the principle, whatever seeds you sow, they will come up, right? And so if you are sowing from a place of greed, then you might make a lot of money on the front end. You will fizzle out and burn on the back end. So I really think, you know, integrity is important, discipline, and educating yourself, being very clear about your why, and having a real business plan to guide you. I think a lot of people jump out there and they say, you know, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm starting my business, and so now I got this name and I got my LLC and I'm ready to go, and they are very aggressive in going to get what it is that they desire. But they have no real clear infrastructure. Let me use that word, because I have a lot of clients who are in business and then they come to me, wow, I'm doing really well, but they have no clearly defined processes, which is your infrastructure, whether it's automated or manual. You need to know what that is. And it's not well written out. They're not following it. And you can't provide excellent service not having that.
Right.
And so I'm going to leave you with that, because I'll use this analogy before I close. You can build a house without a blueprint, but it'll be 4 walls and a roof, which we call a barn, right?
That's it.
There will be no running water, no sliding windows.
Wow.
Am I right?
Yeah.
And in the day and age in what we live in, we want running water.
Oh, yeah.
We want to be able to flip a
Almost a air
switch.
conditioning. Come on now.
And AC, and so that requires a blueprint to how pipes are going to be running and how wires are going to be running, and that's what you lay out in a blueprint before the construction of that property is built, right? They're digging in the ground, they're putting out all that. So your business is no different. And so do
Absolutely.
not just jump out there because you have a passion and a desire and you know your why. Spend the time to educate yourself. Get a great coach or mentor that can help you in that process so you can truly be successful.
Yeah, that's huge. Because I had an experience. I was talking to a young gentleman that's a VP for a construction company, and we just happened to be talking, and this was in the city. And I was talking about how we were looking at one of his buildings and how quick they put the building up. And he said, no, it wasn't quick. He said, most people don't see all the work that's being done underground.
Yeah.
He said it
Wow.
might take a year and a half to get the work done underground. He said once the foundation is in and all the work is done underground,
else.
the building
Yes.
pops up.
Right.
So
Goodness.
the work is constantly being done, and then once people see you out in front, they think, oh, you're just over, it just happened.
Right.
They don't see everything that you had to do to build that foundation so to be ready to look the way it should look when
Absolutely.
it starts to sprout up. So that was just eye-opening. He didn't say it that way, but when he started talking about all the work that they had to do underground,
Yeah.
I related it to, business and your life. And, you have
Absolutely.
to
Powerful stuff.
build your foundation before, and that's why it's tough for people to, I tell my daughter, you can't look at, a person in terms of where they are now.
Right.
You have to think about what they had to do to get there, all the work they had to put in, and times where they couldn't go to the clubs
Right.
or hang out or
Absolutely.
with their friends. And when you get in business, it's a lonely time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true.
You spend a lot of time. It's just like, man, I wish I could just go somewhere and sit down and hang out with the fellas or whatever. But
Yeah.
you got to get the work done.
That's right.
So that's huge. So again, for those that are listening, we have an outstanding cast of women here. Awesome. We have Dr. Deidre W. Hill of D.W. Hill and Associates. We have Darlene Brown here with Divine Empowerment, and Miss Sade Dennis and we haven't even talked about the Gum Network. I talked about the Gum Network. We want to share a little bit about that. But I want to talk with Dr. Hill and just talk about those individuals, the women that are in corporate America that are looking to move into entrepreneurship. Since I left corporate America, and people look at, in terms of what I'm doing in business, one of the number one questions I get is, how did you do it? It's not how you, they don't talk about the business, but how did you leave after 25 years in corporate America? So how should women start if they desire to have a business and they are in the corporate world? How do you plan to move out? You can't just, how do you build that foundation to move from corporate America to an entrepreneur?
Well, first for me, it was wanting to step out on faith. I knew that this was the direction for me to go. And the second thing, which was very, very critical, is the business plan.
It's the business.
I dreaded it. I said, as you said, I know what I want to do. I've been doing this for a long time. I have the experience in this. But what I learned from creating the business plan, and it's a very comprehensive plan. It's well over 50 pages.
Wow.
And it is... It's always a document in progress. You're always working on it, so you're never really finished with it. But what it did for me was give me focus, because what I started out saying I wanted to do in terms of communications and marketing and being in my comfort zone with higher education is not where I'm headed. So I'm still in communications and marketing, but what I found from the research that I've been doing is that there's a dearth of businesses that are working on crisis communication, reputation repair. And And when you get into some problems, where do you go to get the fix-it person
Right, exactly.
to fix it up? And particularly with small businesses, but this can go across a number of industries. And that came from research. A lot of times we want to say what we will provide the market, but what does the market need? Mm-hmm. What did the market say it needs? And doing the business plan allows you to uncover what some of those answers are. And it's my roadmap. Mm-hmm. It's the roadmap that I am using for the business. So I think it's really, really critical, like you said, to do that business plan and make sure you have the foundation so that you don't have an empty barn, and that you stay focused. Because without it, I'd be all over the place. Mm-hmm. Not knowing what it is that I wanted to do. Have all this knowledge and not knowing anything with it at all. So I think it's really important for people who are venturing out on their own to take the time. It is well worth the investment to spend doing the research, uncovering what is going on in the market, and developing the business plan so that you know the direction in which you're going.
Excellent. I love that. We're getting ready to wound down, and I want to give each one of you a chance to talk about your business. So I want to do something first, and I always put people on the spot when I do this, because I didn't warn you guys. Okay. But one of the things that I do for most of my shows is we do what's called a countdown. And again, with EliteConversations.com, one of our goals is to provide business owners knowledge, resources, and connections. So within 2 minutes, I want each of you to give answers to these 3 questions. First one is, what is it that keeps you going? What's your passion, or what is that foundational principle that keeps you going? Second thing is, what is a resource that you like to share with someone? It could be an app or something that a business owner could use in their business. And the last thing is, what business would you like to spotlight? Somebody that you do business with. I know it's going to be tough for a lot of you because you probably have 3 or 4 people that you want to spotlight. So who wants to go first? I know that's the fun part, is putting you on the spot. So,
okay. So that first question, if I was going to recommend
No, that's not the first question.
Oh, the first question.
What's your passion? What is it that drives you?
What is it that drives me?
That gets you past those tough days?
Is my inner desire to be better than I was yesterday.
Wow. Okay, I like that.
That is, I'm a lifelong learner, and that means I am not perfected, and I always want to work on becoming better. So that drives me.
Excellent.
Okay, and the second question, I'm going to say, I want to give anybody any tips in terms of business, but if you are in business, get yourself a CRM system, a customer relationship management system, which is basically your database. It allows you to automate your life, and it really does help keep you efficient. So there are a number of them out there.
Name a couple so people
one
have a
might be
reference
MailChimp.
point.
So MailChimp
Okay.
is very inexpensive. It's about $10 a month, and it provides that service. And then you can go on the Bentley Inn, like an Infusionsoft or a NetForum, which has a lot of different bells and whistles and features. But you definitely, in this day and age, if you're going to be in business and be about it seriously, you need to have a CRM, customer relationship management system.
Excellent. And who would you like to spotlight?
Wow. Okay. Who would I like? I'm going to spotlight Bunnell Solutions, which is a technology company.
Okay.
It is a minority business. They're out in Tyson's Corner, and they deal with CRMs, but on a much, much larger level to associations on the global market.
Okay.
And they're a startup it's about 3 years now. They've been around. They've grown tremendously in that 3 years. So I spotlight them. They work really hard in providing excellent service.
Excellent. Great. I'm going to put you on the spot.
All right. Okay, the first question. I have a little mommy brain. What was the first question?
Your passion. What drives you?
Gotcha. I should know that one, right? You know what? My passion for me is that I'm able to not only use all the talents and gifts that God has given me, but help others ignite theirs. I mean, I am ruled by the parable of the talents. You know, to some, God gave
That's
one
right.
or two or three, but I believe that God gave it to you for a reason. And I think many times we really underestimate those things, and we think, well, okay, this is just nothing. And it's really a slap in God's face when we do that. And so I believe really in working those things and exercising them and stretching ourselves. There was a time where I was horrible on camera. It was a young lady that I was working with, and she put the camera in front of my face, and I'm telling you, I bombed. I mean, I stunk the joint up. And I remember the footage was not even usable. And I said, you know what? I know that God has called me to be in front of people and be comfortable, et cetera, on camera and whatnot. I practiced. And I can go back and look at footage that I would just, practice and what have you throughout, like a decade. But I was going to work at it because I knew that God had called me to do these, this type of work. So definitely to make sure that people are using their gifts and talents, and don't be afraid to, to mess up. It doesn't mean that God didn't call you to a certain particular thing or put those gifts inside of you. So yes, to use your talents and your gifts to max out. You max out at where you are, and then you stretch. And it's like I always look at like the potential versus capacity. And they're two different things, but our capacity is where we are now. Stretch out of it, bust out of it, go to the next phase. And so you grow at that level and stretch out. I mean, so, and that leads me into the second part about what would I recommend for clients. I would say your smartphone. I mean, that sounds very generic, but this smartphone that we have here is truly a platform. Understanding how to use it, work your device. I cannot tell you the amount of electronics that I had in the past that I didn't really understand its power and functionality. But your cell phone can do a lot. I mean, it's a video recorder. It can be an MP3 recorder. I do a lot with my smartphone. And then the business I would highlight, a client or just any business? Any business?
Any business, yes.
Gee whiz. Goodness, there's so many great organizations and, oh, Lord. Darrell.
That's a tough one.
I'll let you think on that one. We're going to come back on that one. All right, Dr. Hill. What drives you every day?
I am driven by the connections that I make, and there are many connections, but if I would pick one, it would be the connections that I've made with students over the past 20 years or so, being in higher education. That inspires me, that motivates me. I learn so much. Sometimes I wonder if I've missed my calling in the classroom, but I am really driven by the many students that I've had the opportunity to meet over the years and learn from, and hopefully also impart some knowledge to. So that has, and I try to find ways. Most recently, of course, at Prince George's Community College last week. But I've been on a number of different college campuses, and anytime someone gives me the opportunity to come speak to students, I take it.
That's excellent.
So I absolutely love it. And the second was about a resource to share. I would say, I guess this would be a resource. I think it's very important for all of us to master language and master language in all different forms, because language is not just verbal. It is nonverbal, it is interpersonal. And once you are able to master language on all those different levels, that's like the first step to really successful communication. And when you get really successful communication, you get really great relationships. And we need relationships when it comes to having successful businesses.
I might have to bring you back.
So
that's a show
that.
right there.
That's a show
That's
right
a show.
there,
I'm telling you.
yes.
That's powerful.
And the spotlight that I would like to give would be to Wright Consultant, WRIGHT Consultant. The founder and owner is Tracy Wright. I have known her a long time. She is an inspiration, a motivation. She started her business years ago. And she is still in it in terms of entertainment communications, sports communications, and she is now based in Prince George's County.
Oh, excellent.
So, Wright Consultant.
Wright Consultant. Excellent.
I've got my
Great.
company.
All right.
I want to give a shout out and a spotlight to the Simon Life and Wellness Center. It's a mental health facility that's opening up in Baltimore City. But basically, what it does is it takes the stigma out of mental illness, and so they offer different types of wellness services as well as like medication management. But it's a spa-like environment. People come in there, and you don't know whether they're getting spa services or mental health services or art therapy. And I think that when we think about like mental illness and all of that, there are lots of people that walk around every single day with some form of mental illness or trauma, and it's like the walking wounded. And so for this company to be started, I think it's a major thing. And the owner is an African American gentleman. But they're just doing amazing things right in Baltimore City. So,
Awesome.
yeah. And so I've never met him before, but I was really impacted by reading about the things that he was doing in Baltimore City.
That's excellent. Give us the name
So,
again.
that's good.
It is the Simon Life and Wellness Center
Simon Life.
Mhm.
Okay.
in Baltimore City.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, you
Doing
guys
great
did
work.
good. I know I put you on the spot. I didn't
Yes.
prepare you for it.
Did not.
So I appreciate
not
that.
on the
No,
list.
it was
No,
not on the
I
list.
was saying too.
But hey, that's why I put you guys on. I knew quick thinkers and excellent women, so I knew you would handle it with no problem. So let's take just a couple of minutes. I really want you to share a little bit about your business, about what you do, if you have any events coming up, how people can reach you to get your expertise, to get your skills, and we have a great diversity of skills here. So pretty much you can start a business by contacting these three women and get your branding and all that stuff done. And if you have a problem with public relations, you can get your we have it all right here.
You're
As a-
absolutely
we
right.
can start a
I'm
business.
thinking about it. You too.
So share with us a little bit about your business and how
Sure.
folks can reach you.
Well, I am super excited to announce to some and maybe reminding to others about our newest venture. And not only is it a new venture, but it really is I would say, umbrella that makes everything else make sense. And it is the GUM Network, which stands for Good Urban Media. And it's an online TV network. We're looking at expanding, in about a year or so into like Roku and other things. But right now, we're online. And so you can find us at thegumnetwork.com. And why I'm excited is because it gives people the opportunity to see fresh faces and voices. And especially in a time right now where people are discouraged, they're perhaps may feel disoriented with what's going on in our political system. So we have shows, we have live stream shows, everything from like Style View Live, which is like a red carpet special show where we look at fashion. We also have like Outlook, which is a political show. So it really does run the gamut, but I'm excited to share as well as to open up and allow people to have, like I said, fresh new voices and faces, especially in this time right now, because we can't rely on this person or that person to curate our cultural experience. We have to do that ourselves.
That's right.
And so that's what the GUM Network does. So it's where good urban media lives and thrives. And so it's thegumnetwork.com or thegumnow.com. So either of those places will get you to see and read more about what we're doing.
Great. And what are some of the services you can help business owners with?
Absolutely. On-camera training, live stream training, branding, different types of multimedia, everything that you see and making it work better, whether that is helping you learn how to understand these technologies yourself, helping executives be more comfortable in front of the camera, everything that helps people really be seen and heard and really make that huge, big impression. I help people to feel and look bigger and really,
That's great.
yeah, absolutely, and do more with what you have.
Excellent. Excellent. That's awesome. Darlene?
Let's see, divineempowerment.org. That's where you can connect with me. My services, I am a certified executive leadership coach. I'm certified in several leadership modules, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, the Fred Factor, and TRACOM Social Styles, which is your emotional intelligence leadership module. If you're looking for someone to come into your organization to provide leadership training, or if you're a small business or startup and you're really looking for someone to do some one-on-one executive coaching, as I shared, my training and education is in technology, which is very necessary in helping people understand and kind of discern which technology might be better for them as a small business, setting up that infrastructure for them and just helping them through that process, because it is a lot. It can be overwhelming if you're not familiar or knowledgeable in that area. You can reach me by visiting my website. You can email me, dbrown@divineempowerment.org, or you can give me a call at 301-221-5590.
Excellent. And just list a few things that you can help business owners with, other than the coaching.
Other than the coaching, yes. So I can help set up your technology. I can help set up your customer relationship management system. I can give you directions about what applications to utilize to really brand and get exposure through social media, particularly as people say, well, there's so many different social media. So I can introduce you to the technology that infuses them all together. So you put out one message, it goes out to all of them. And as well as helping to create your brand. So I'm not a marketing expert, but I understand from a branding perspective the consistency, whether it be your logo and the colors and the picture, that you put that together for your business. That's really important. And so I provide a lot of guidance in that.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And Dr. Hill?
D.W. Hill and Associates Incorporated is a boutique public relations and marketing firm. We say boutique because we want you to feel like you are the only client that we have. And that is the experience that we try to design for you. We created our own communications needs assessment tool. So based off of that tool, we are able to not just scratch the surface, but go very, very deep into your organization and your operation and figure out what are some of the communications challenges and what are some possible communications opportunities that you can capitalize on. And we analyze that. My background is as a researcher in communications and marketing, so we do a lot of research, focus groups. We are trying to get at what the real issues are before we even design what the plan is to help you improve your communications, your public relations or marketing needs. In terms of additional services, we also do crisis management. So we're the go-to people if you got a problem. Wow. And that problem needs to be cleaned up immediately. We are very discreet and we work with integrity. So we don't go and broadcast who it is that we're working with, so it would be very easy and comfortable to work with us, and we've got experience in this area. In terms of brand development, again, we delve very, very deeply to find out who you are. My personal definition of brand is your DNA. It's who you are, all the good and all the bad. And we help develop content to around what we find to make you a better person, to communicate who you really are and who you want to be. The best way to reach us and find out more about us is to go to our website. It's dwhillassociates.com.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you ladies for being a part of the show today. You have provided a wealth of great knowledge for those that are listening. And just want to thank everyone that came on to view this podcast. It was a great evening. I know it takes a lot of time to come on and join us, but I appreciate everyone that takes time out on Thursdays to be a part of Elite Conversations Unplugged. So again, this is Darrell Spears with EliteConversations.com. You can go to our website, learn a little bit more about what we do. We're here every Thursday at 7 o'clock, so please share this with your friends and family. You can find us on Facebook at EliteConversations.com. So thanks again, and as I always say, every day is a good day if you do it God's way, and He is always the smartest one in the room. Thank you, and you have a great night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love that.